All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping into H.G. Wells' absolute masterpiece, The Time Machine. And what's so cool about this story is that it kicks off one of the biggest ideas in all of science fiction, not from some high-tech lab, but from a cozy Victorian smoking room.
So, the story kicks off with a real challenge. Picture this. It's after dinner, and this brilliant scientist, we only know him as the time traveler, he throws out this completely mind-bending idea to his friends, who are, let's be honest, pretty skeptical. And he's not just spinning a yarn here. He's literally about to pull the rug out from under their whole understanding of reality.
The core of his whole argument is this pretty radical idea. He says, look, time isn't just some river that we're all just swept along in. No. He argues it's a fourth dimension, a pathway that, if you had the right piece of tech, you could travel along it just like you drive down a road.
And the way he explains it is actually pretty simple. He says a cube, right? It can't really exist if it doesn't exist for any amount of time. It has to have duration. So any real object has to exist in all four directions. And that's the basic principle his whole invention is built on. So, to prove his point, what does he do? He whips out a miniature model of his machine and makes it vanish, poof, right in front of everyone. Now, his guests, they just write it off as some kind of clever magic trick. But you know what? He's not fazed at all. He just leads them into his lab to show them the real deal.
And this is the moment of truth. He's standing there, right next to the full-size machine, this glittering thing made of ivory and nickel and crystal, and he just lays it all out for them. And with that, he says goodbye to his friends, to his whole world, and just launches himself straight into the unknown.
So he's off, and the journey is, wow. It's dizzying, it's nauseating, days and nights just blur together into this flapping black wing, and then bam! He slams the machine to a halt, he gets thrown off right into a hailstorm and finds himself in a completely strange new world. He looks at the dials on his machine, and you won't believe this. The date reads 802,701. I mean, he has jumped over 800,000 years into the future. And at first glance, it really looks like he's landed in some kind of paradise.
So what does he see? Well, he's in this huge, beautiful garden, but it also feels kind of neglected. You've got these incredible flowers everywhere, but they're growing around these giant, crumbling palaces. There's no sign of houses or farms or anything like that. And just watching over the whole scene is this massive, mysterious white sphinx statue.
And pretty soon he meets the locals, the descendants of humanity, called the Eloi. And they are just gorgeous, small, about 4 feet tall, wearing these soft robes. But here's the weird part. They're also incredibly frail, and they have this total, almost maddening lack of curiosity. They just don't care about him or his incredible machine at all.
And you can just feel his disappointment, right? He was expecting to meet these super intelligent future humans way beyond his own time. Instead, he finds these gentle, simple creatures, and it hits him. The great, grand project of human intellect, yeah, that's been over for a long, long time. But hold on. This simple, kind of sad vision of the future, it's about to get completely shattered. As the sun starts to set on what he thinks is utopia, the time traveler comes up with his first big theory about how humanity ended up like this.
His thinking goes something like this. Humanity basically won. They beat disease, they beat predators, they beat every hardship you can imagine. But with nothing left to fight against, what happened? Their strength, their intelligence, their ambition, it all just kind of withered on the vine. Perfect safety, perfect comfort, it led to this gentle but total decay.
So he's standing on a hill, feeling pretty smart, pretty satisfied with his theory. The moon's coming up. But when he goes back to the spot where he landed, a totally chilling feeling washes over him. His machine, his only way home, it's gone.
He starts panicking, obviously. He's searching everywhere and finds these faint tracks leading straight to the base of that giant white sphinx. He knocks on the bronze pedestal and realizes it's hollow. And he knows there's absolutely no way those little, frail Eloi could have moved his heavy machine. Something else, some other power is at work here. So now, he's stranded. He's terrified. And that neat little theory he had, it's completely in ruins. And that's when he starts noticing things. Unsettling little details about this world that he'd totally missed before. clues that point to a much, much darker reality.
He starts putting the pieces together. There are these strange, deep wells dotting the landscape, and you can hear the hum of some great engine coming from them. Then there's the Aloy's fear of the dark. I mean, they are absolutely paralyzed by it. And then, at dusk, he starts catching glimpses of these pale, almost ape-like figures just scurrying into the shadows. What is going on?
And then, while he's exploring one of the dark ruins, he gets his answer. He's suddenly staring at a pair of large, glowing eyes looking right at him from the pitch black. He only sees it for a second, this pale, bleached, ape-like creature, before it scrambles away from the light of his match.
And that's when the horrible truth finally clicks into place. Humanity didn't just decline, it split in two. The beautiful Eloi up on the surface, they're the descendants of the rich, the idle upper class, just living a life of leisure in the sun. But they are not alone. They're basically being kept by another species, one that lives down below.
And the conclusion he draws is just a terrifying reflection of his own Victorian era. That social divide, right? The haves and the have-nots. It didn't just get worse. It became a biological fact. The working class was pushed underground, literally, forced to work in the dark for thousands of years until they evolved into something new, the Morlocks. And they are the ones who took his machine.
So to get his machine back, to have any hope at all of getting home, he knows exactly what he has to do. He has to face the thing that the Eloi are so terrified of. He has to go down, into the dark.
He finds one of those ventilation shafts and starts climbing down. And it is a terrifying descent, let me tell you. He's scrambling down these shaky metal rungs, 200 yards straight down into the gut of the planet. And the whole time, that thudding, pumping sound of machinery just gets louder and louder.
When he finally gets to the bottom, he strikes a match and gets his first real look at the Morlock's world. It's this huge, dark cavern, just packed with machinery. And in the flickering light, he sees them. The pale, almost spider-like Morlocks, shrinking away from the flame. And then he smells it, this faint, sickening smell of fresh blood. He's got to get out of there, right? He turns to climb back up the shaft, but the Morlocks, they just swarm him. Their clammy fingers are grabbing at his clothes. He manages to strike his very last match to keep them back for a second, but just as he's reaching for the rungs to climb, it flickers and goes out, leaving him completely defenseless in the absolute oppressive dark.
So in the end, you realize that Time Traveler's journey isn't just about traveling through time, is it? It's really a descent into the darkest possible consequences of his own society. That beautiful utopia the Eloi had, it was only possible because of the absolute monstrous degradation of the Morlocks. And that forces us to ask a really chilling question: what hidden horrors might be propping up our own ideas of a perfect world?